All right. Hello, everyone. We are going to wait just a minute or two to let students continue joining and make sure that everyone gets in okay. But thank you so much for tuning in today for our Digital DFAST programming. We are so excited to have you all here to learn about our undergraduate business program. Like I said, we're going to wait just one more minute just so we can make sure everyone gets in and gets settled all right, but we already have a good number of students joining us. If you want, while we're getting started, please feel free to let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. Although we can't welcome you to campus officially, it's always exciting to see where students are able to tune in from in a virtual format. So please feel free to let us know where you're tuning in from. It's been really fun to see students tuning in from all over the country in the past couple of days with our virtual programming. Alrighty. But with that, oh, there we go. See, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Oh my goodness, awesome. More Pennsylvania, a lot of Pennsylvania today. That's cool. New York, from New York, that's exciting. All right, everyone. Well, it seems like we are slowly kind of plateauing here. So I think we can go ahead and get started. My name is Judy Nichols. I'm an Assistant Dean of Admission here at William & Mary, and I am so excited that you're all here today to learn about our business program. With that being said, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Jen to introduce herself and take it away.
Fabulous. Well, we're so happy that you're able to take some time to join us today in this virtual environment. We sure wish you were on campus. It's beautiful and lovely in Williamsburg. Like spring is here. The trees are all green. The flowers are blooming. It's the kind of day that makes you not want to be inside. So we'll just have to send you kind of virtual images of that. So what I'm going to go over today is more information about the business school and how our programs work and what kind of opportunities are available to our students. I serve as the assistant dean of the undergraduate program. And so my responsibilities have everything from the admission side to the student and the academic experience, and then connecting students with the professional development preparations to get them ready to launch beyond their time at William & Mary. I've got a slideshow presentation that I'll give, and I am happy to distribute it to anyone who wants it. And so you are welcome to just email me and I will send you a copy of the presentation so you don't have to feel like you take notes, or if you feel like I'm going fast, you can always come back and review. And JD also tells me that our session is being recorded, and so there'll be a way to go back in the posting as well. So as we go, we can actually go through and I'll give the information, but there's a feature on here that's a Q&A that you can use. So if there's questions that come up along the way, just go ahead and pop them into that section, and JD will keep an eye on it and give me the hand raise and let me know if we need to clarify something that has come in. All right, let me make sure I've got the right screen. And we move. So when we think about an education at the Mason School of Business within William & Mary, we're different, and we're different than other business schools that you may have been looking at and encountering. And we like it that way, right? So we're really looking at an innovative curriculum and experience, very personalized to our students, that we're a small enough school that students can tailor things to their interest. But I think of it as we have big school opportunities to piece all of those things together. And our goal is to be transformative. So students come in and gain more and leave better and stronger when they arrived on campus. When we look at the question of why business, what are we doing? Of course, right? The pandemic that we're in now, if anything, has highlighted how interconnected we are with the economies and the marketplaces, and not just the domestic scope, but the international intricacies that we have. And business is a place where we can understand what is going on. We can study that. We can see which disciplines are contributing. Learning the language of business helps us understand what is going on in the world around us. And the other thing that we really are thinking about for students that study business is developing a toolkit. So there's big problems, there's challenges, there's opportunities, and we think about what skills do students need so that they can go out and address today's wicked problems. It's going to require creative and innovative and entrepreneurial thinkers. And so that is the mindset that we have when we think about being a leader within business education. We do like to brag about ourselves a little bit, right? Just to give the scope so that you know where we fit in the portfolio of schools and programs that are out there. And so very similar to William & Mary, we are very much a business school that is housed within a liberal arts university. And that makes us different and special, and we love it. There's a lot of focus on teaching. And so students are really interacting directly with their faculty. These are not TA taught courses. These are not huge lecture courses. Most of my classrooms have a maximum of 45 students that could even be in them. So we're a small field for the students that come in the program. There's a lot of individualized attention in terms of professional development and coaching for our students. So we have everything from seminars and workshops that are running through with career-based advisors to executive coaches that are working with our students to help them navigate which kind of industries and functions they want to do. And then an amazingly dedicated alumni network. So when we say alumni network, it means that we pick up the phone and we call our alums and that the students are talking and interacting with them on a regular basis. And so it's a very intimate experience for our students that are here with us. We also have some recognition in some of our subcategories and our accounting and our analytics that are going on. We're known for finance coming through, and we've got lots of innovation happening in the marketing and entrepreneurship areas as well. So the question that comes up most is, how does business fit in, right? So you've come here with an interest in business and you want to know what are the opportunities. We are what is called a 2-year business school program. And so the majority of our students will enter the business school during their junior year and be with us and finish out all of their requirements in their final 2 years with us. There are other business schools where actually students enter the business school during their freshman year. So ours will spend 2 years primarily in arts and sciences and then come over to business and still have a bridge between the two. So once they become business students, by no means do we have a wall that goes up between us and the rest of the university. And so against that backdrop, we offer 2 different degree classifications that students could have. So pursuing a major within business, and we have multiple disciplines that students can be looking at: accounting, finance, marketing, and business analytics. We also have a pathway for students that want to pursue a minor. And so we think about the coursework in a minor is about half the number of courses for what we have within the major. And the difference is that the majors take a broad foundational portfolio within business and focus in a discipline, where our minors are only focusing in that discipline. So they won't quite have the breadth of knowledge that's coming in, but they will certainly have the same depth of knowledge that our students have. And so it's nice that there's some flexibility in there. When our students come into the majors program, their first semester experience is a foundation semester cohort. We call this the block. So if you are talking with other students that have been here, it's kind of their first step of coming in. And it is very much focused on giving students exposure to all of the business disciplines so that they can make an informed decision about what area it is that they want to study. So rather than having a student have to decide, I want to do marketing, or I want to do finance, or I want to do analytics, we say, let's actually let you try those courses on for size and then decide where it is that you really are drawn to, right? And what are the kinds of problems that you want to be working on, and where do you see yourself going in terms of career pathways? So I think that is a nice feature of our program, that you're not admitted to a particular major discipline. You're admitted to the majors program overall, and then get to choose what area it is that you would like to study. The first semester experience is very integrated. There's a lot of simulations and cases that are going on, and work on professional development when students go through in that program. And then beyond the foundation semester, that's where students still have some common courses they have to take. We call the upper core, but then they also are going to be focusing on what their individual disciplines of study are going to be. And then if I look at the minors program, like I said, it's a discipline focus. So for this program, students actually apply to specific minors and are admitted to those minors. So they choose up front, and we can help them through that process of deciding which might be the best fit option for them. But our minors are equally part of the Mason School of Business community. So they have the same access to all of the resources, programming, services that are going on as our majors program. And we have a pretty robust minors program, particularly compared to other schools. So how it comes through a 2-year program, we do have a competitive admissions process. Most students will go through that process during the spring semester of their sophomore year, but we also realize there are students that will come and arrive at William & Mary with credits in hand. And so academically, they may actually be able to come into our program spring semester of sophomore year, sometimes even fall semester of sophomore year, and that is perfectly fine. And we allow students to do that. So there are 2 different cohort groups that are admitted, a set for the fall semester, a set for the spring semester. And that really gives students the maximum flexibility to decide what is the best timing for them to start their foundation semester courses. And the reason that's helpful is that we have a lot of students that are actually simultaneously pursuing studies in business and in arts and sciences. And so you can still be doing an arts and sciences major with your business major or a minor. And this lets students decide kind of where those pieces should align. The admissions process comes through, and it is very similar to what you're going to see across all of the top business schools. There's prerequisite courses that students need to take. So statistics, calculus, accounting, the economics courses that are there. And then we say 54 credits is equivalent to our junior standing. And so students would have all of those requirements completed before they enter the program, not necessarily before they apply, but they need to have that base knowledge and those credits before they could actually start taking the major courses. And as I was talking about flexibility, right, fall and spring, and then also the ability for students to come in early, this opens up a really great pathway for students who are interested in pursuing also graduate studies in accounting and business analytics, that we have many students that will come in and will actually complete 2 degrees within a 4-year time frame. So it's a win-win all the way around. They still have the 4-year experience, but actually come out with that graduate degree as well. All right, so how do students get to know, right? You've come here, so that's a great first step of an interest in business. So students that come to William & Mary are able to indicate that they would like to be placed with a faculty advisor starting their freshman year. And so we are able to accommodate all of the students that put business as their first interest and match you with one of our faculty members to get you involved. There's a lot of academic advising and admissions sessions that are going on. There's also some courses that are available. So we have these prereqs, but then we also have other, what I would say are kind of introductory to business types of courses. So a business foundations course, looking at diversity, financial services, even statistics is really helpful when students are looking at analytics, and then some introductions to entrepreneurship and innovation. So there are some ways that students can kind of try us on for size before they decide that they want to go ahead and pursue either the major or the minors program. And lots of ways to get involved. So as we are engaging with our students as early as freshman year, we have a number of business school centers that are available. So a center for excellence in finance. There's also an innovation center and an entrepreneurship center. And the picture actually on here is coming from one of our maker spaces. So this is our design studio. It's actually a classroom within the School of Business. And you think, that's a business school classroom? And we say, absolutely, right? So one of those things that we talked about before was the importance of creativity and teamwork and grit and resilience and innovation. And spaces like this help us get students into that kind of environment that will help them thrive and be able to take on those things in different ways. So yes, right here. And Michael Lukes, who's sitting in the back, this faculty member that is there that's working with the students, he has really done some amazing things in interdisciplinary work. So within marketing and innovation, and actually linking over to environmental science and looking at sustainable innovation and insights for customer experiences. We also have courses in there that we're actually team teaching with the theater department, a creative problem solving course that is going on. So there's a lot of really good energy that comes in with the business school that is linking even in the cross campus space. We also have a number of student organizations. So if you can think about where it is that you want to be, and this is a great way for underclassmen to get to know upperclassmen and talk to them about their experiences. There's also a lot of activity going on with these organizations. They are completely free for the students, so there's no additional charge. They are welcome to just simply join in. And they will be hosting guest speakers. They sometimes put on treks and trips. And so they might be heading up to Washington, D.C. or to other areas to be doing pockets to look at what really business looks like in real life. So good way to connect, and it's a good way for students to explore what their potential interests might be. And then career connections, right? A business school, you cannot get through a business school and not be talking about how do we get you ready to be prepared to launch for life after William & Mary. And so we have all kinds of events and things that are going on. And I think that's really helpful for students as they explore what their strengths and talents are in the classroom, but then also marrying that with the kind of career exploration that will help them find meaningful and fulfilling work opportunities after graduation. And so we kind of scale those up from starting as freshmen and sophomores and some personal exploration and connecting all the way up to networking events and case competitions and hosting women's leadership summits that are in the building and getting involved with some of our executive partners and alums that are coming on back. So as you can see, there's a slew of events. Miller Hall is a very busy place. And if any of you have been able to see the building, or I've got a link at the end of this presentation to take a tour, you can see that we're very much set up to be a physical building environment that can host all of these activities. So we'll be hosting right within Miller Hall career fairs and bringing in. So for instance, I was just in a meeting earlier talking about Meet the Firms Friday. And you think, what is that? Well, in September, we actually bring about 45 different companies in that are focusing on our accounting services and the consulting practice, with a lot of alums and panels that are going through so students can understand what does a day in the life and what do these different career pathways look like. And then also doing a recruitment fair for students that are pursuing internship opportunities and then also looking at job opportunities. So this is the one time in your life as students that the employers will absolutely come to you, and they'll be right at the doorstep and give you lots of access to engage and see where it is that you want to go. So our students are taking advantage of that on a pretty much a daily basis within the business school environment. There's also a lot of focus, and you'll see this echoed, and I hope you attend some sessions on this, on study abroad. And so we are not any different from the university. We aspire to have 100% of our students engage in international experience before they graduate. And many students will choose to engage early on in the summer experience. There's also, what you may not know for my high school students, a really long winter break. And we're talking like 5 weeks long. And so there are many study abroad opportunities that are going into that January space that students can actually fit in an international experience. And then we also have a good population of our students that are studying abroad for a semester. And so even when we're looking at the business program being primarily a 4-semester program for most students, our faculty are so committed to this international experience. We actually have the curriculum mapped out that you could finish all of your business coursework in 3 semesters to free you up to go abroad for a semester and have the flexibility to go a place where you don't necessarily have to take any business courses. And so if you want to study language and arts and cultures in a certain part of the world, that's perfectly fine. And then icing on the cake, if you want to combine that with business studies and interest, and then earn some transfer credits that come back and help you satisfy degree requirements. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go, and there's a lot of financial aid that is available. There's even tuition exchange programs where we actually have business to business school relationships. And so a student can pay their same William & Mary tuition and then study abroad at that institution and take their room and board money with them to do that. So that's a really great opportunity, especially for our in-state students, to be looking at that. Most of our out-of-state students, you'll actually find it'll be less expensive for you to study abroad than it will be to be on campus. In addition to what we think of as traditional formal study abroad, which for most students, like I said, will happen in the summer or even spring of sophomore year, and sometimes even into junior year, there are more and more international internships becoming available and service and research projects that students are getting involved in. There's even some international pathway programs that are taking place at William & Mary's DC program. And so there's a wide portfolio of where students can engage and really get that international and global knowledge and perspective that's going to make them successful as they move on with their careers. All right, so Miller Hall, this is our beautiful building. We have actually been in Miller Hall now, I believe we're going on 11 years, and we are affectionately referred to sitting on the western gate of campus. And so right as you're coming in off of Jamestown Road, you see this building. Our building houses, in addition to our undergraduate program, several other graduate programs. So our students are actually mixed, and that's a really good thing for our undergraduates. So when we're bringing speakers in, for instance, for our MBA program or our MSBA or our MAC programs, or even our executive program that might be going on, those same speakers are engaged in talking at the undergrads level and coming into the classes, and the events are open to all students. And I think that's a very positive thing. And we have faculty that are teaching both at the graduate level and simultaneously at the undergraduate level. It is a really thriving community kind of space. So like I said, there's things going on all the time. And this bottom picture is the main atrium when you walk into the building. You can see it's a very large space. There's a lot of lounges and things that exist. And so we will fill this rooms upstairs really to capacity when we've got kind of our full effective events going in progress within there. So I have made it through, and this is what my goal was, to kind of go about 20 minutes or so, and then leave lots of time to ask questions. And I don't know, should I just, JD, leave this screen on up? Can they still see us? Or should I close
I think you could take it. I think you could close it out now if you're ready.
Okay. So stop sharing, and then I'm back to seeing all of you wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah, now is definitely the time to start submitting those questions. What else do you want to know? I see some students trying to raise their hand. I would definitely recommend submitting a question. I don't think we are going to be using the hand raising feature quite that much today, but the chat and the Q&A, we will be monitoring both. We do have one question already. I know this might fluctuate from year to year, but could you talk about the acceptance rate in the business school for William and Mary sophomores, and do many students get turned away or stay in the liberal arts?
Okay, and then I've got the next one kind of saying evaluation of the application. So why don't I kind of flip the order and say, what does this application entail? And then let's talk about kind of where students come through on that. And so what we're looking at is a holistic application from students, and it's going to be comprised of their academic performance on campus. And so what kind of classes are they taking? How are they doing in those courses? How are they engaging? Are they demonstrating some resilience? So if we have kind of a spotty, can we rebound for that? And so that's the first component. The second component is co-curricular engagement. So one of the things you saw, right? We are a pretty lively environment, and we want students to be taking advantage of things that are going on, and also positioning themselves to get involved, to take on leadership roles, to put themselves out there. And so we look at demonstrated engagement. So how are students spending their time outside of the classroom as an indicator of the likelihood that they will get engaged with activities with us. And so in that side of things, it's not necessarily volume. It's not that you have to be in 10 different organizations, but have you found 3 that you're really connected with, that you're really engaged with and being part of that community? And that may kind of ebb and flow depending on what your interests are. It might involve work opportunities that you're doing or research that you're doing across campus. It might involve internships. It can involve study abroad experiences, student clubs, organizations that are business related, but also certainly non-business related. So we're looking for what it is and how you spend your time. And then the third component is looking at communication skills. And also, why business, right? That's the big question. So out of all of the things you can choose, you are very talented students. You're good at a lot of different things. So where does business really fit in for you? And I'm very specific in my question when I say for you. So not for your parents or your aunt and uncle or your siblings or your friend down the street. Why is it that you want to pursue this area? And as you explore that, given that you've already come here, right? So you've already kind of raised your hand and said, I'm interested in business. You are the group that I think really needs to get involved with the organizations and things pretty early on. And so then when we're communicating in my essay, right, that I knew I wanted to study business when I came in, and then we look at how did you spend your time co-curricularly, it would be nice if that story matched, right? Because there are so many opportunities that are available to you. Now that story might look a little bit different. So maybe you started as a pre-med student and then kind of discovered business along the way, and then pivoted and changed course. And this might be why you're coming in now. So the stories and the ways that students got to the business school will look very different. And some is kind of intentional planning, and other is I stumbled on it, but that's what we're really looking at. So why does business, fit for you? And within that scope of saying, okay, you look at it holistically, but I want some numbers, Jen. Tell me what this looks like. Like, what does it mean academic performance? So we have a whole range of students and what they're doing in terms of GPA. But if I were to tell you an average GPA coming in, so for our fall cohort, it's sitting about a 3.4 GPA coming in. So it's a very manageable GPA, especially when you look at your experiences coming in from high school. And then in the spring semester, it tends to be just a little bit more competitive because we bring in 90 students in the spring versus 135 in the fall. And so the spring, it ups to usually about an average of a 3.5 GPA going across. And then in terms of acceptance rates, right, because that's the next layer. Have I done all of these things and I've gotten involved and I put together a good application that's been reviewed? We're right now sitting between about a 75 and 80% acceptance rate into the majors program. And then for students that aren't accepted into the major, the vast majority are accepted into our minors program. And they will start in the minors program, and then actually many choose to reapply to come into the major in a later term. And so it's nice that there's not only one gateway of time for students to come in, but there's actually multiple opportunities. And that also allows flexibility. We have some students that come in and start in the minors program and kind of fall in love with us and say, oh, I want to switch from the minor over into the major. So I have even upwards of 12 or 15 rising seniors that started as minors in the program as juniors and then switched over to the majors program coming in. So there's a lot of ways for students to get involved with us. And I would say most students who want to have some kind of business studies are able to do so. It's just a matter of kind of where the timing is and how they fit in. So that was a long answer to your question, JD, but hopefully it
absolutely
what they wanted to know.
Absolutely did. And I remember writing my why business essay when I was applying to my marketing minor. And I remember saying, you know, I've always been the type of kid who like noticed when labels changed on like soup. And I never realized that that was kind of like marketing and things like that. And once I realized, I just kind of dove right in and never regretted it.
Yeah, it's great. So what else do we have that's kind of coming in with here?
All right. So is it possible to double major in business majors?
Oh, that's a good question. No, but I'm going to give a kind of a but, no but. So within the business school, you can have one major. All right. So William & Mary allows you to have two majors at the most. One can be within business, one can be within arts and sciences. You can double major in arts and sciences, but you can't double major in business. But what we have is what we call concentration. And so that allows students to pick a primary area of study and then pick a secondary area of study. And so if we recall, my primary areas of study are accounting, business analytics, finance, and marketing. And there's actually a supply chain analytics route too that some students will pursue off of the business analytics side of things. But then within the concentrations, we even have more choices. So, you know, you can do the calculations on how many combinations there are. But accounting, business analytics, consulting, innovation, entrepreneurship, finance, management and org leadership, sustainability, supply chain analytics, and an international emphasis. So we've got a lot of different pathways that students can kind of mix and match. And then in addition, major in business and kind of that secondary concentration in business. Like I said, you can still do a double major within arts and sciences or a minor within arts and sciences. So there's lots of customization. And we have students doing all kinds of things. So some that you would think go together: marketing and psychology, finance, economics, public policy, and looking at analytics, right? But we also have other things, accounting and philosophy. And you think, where would those go together? Well, we had a student who came through that and they got accepted to every law school that they wanted to go to, right? And so I could do the quantitative work, but I can also do the critical thinking and the writing and the communication. We also have other students who said, I just love music, right? And I want to do music. I have others that are actually pursuing a double major, for instance, in art history. And what they want to go in is to arts management. And so they combine the business studies with the arts management that goes through it. So lots and lots of combinations within our students. I think it makes our student body very interesting and very diverse in what it is that they're doing. So what else have we got, JD?
All right. I was thinking I saw a really good for the next one. So kind of back to the question that we were talking about before. There's why would you be rejected from Mason if you had completed all the prereqs?
It would just be on a space availability. So one of the things that makes William & Mary special, right, is its size and its intimate kind of educational experience. And so if you're looking at Mary & Mary, you're not looking to go to a school that has 300 and 400 people in a lecture hall, right? You really want a personalized interaction with your faculty. And so for that reason, we do have a limit on how many students we bring into the business school at one time. So that's what leads to having a competitive admissions process. So the kinds of things that might get you to say rejected, right? And sometimes these are indicators that maybe business might not be the right fit and trying to figure out where the strengths are. And so like if you did all of your prerequisites and you just were not doing well in them, right? This was not an area that you were kind of excelling in, then that might be worth a conversation to say, hey, where else are your strengths? So it might be more in a management minor instead of looking at the broad business, or an innovation thing, or looking at a global business kind of minor that exists out there. So that might think we look at the prereqs, we don't pull them out exactly, but they do tend to be indicators about whether or not our students can handle the very quantitative aspects of a business major. And so even those of you that might be thinking about marketing, JD can tell you there is quantitative elements within marketing, right? We look at marketing research and all of the data and analytics that are coming in. It is really at the forefront. So that's what we're looking at within those prereqs, besides just understanding market economies and other things that are going on as well. So other things that might have a student not getting in is, like I said, when the story doesn't match. I knew I wanted to do this, but I haven't gotten involved with anything. There's also a balance that happens. So sometimes there is a tendency for some students to underestimate the transition from high school to coming into the university setting. And the way that you're studying and time management is going to have to adapt to being in a college setting, right? And now you're going to be coming in with an environment with great students all around. And so some have had kind of more time they had to put in their high school studies. Some it came really easy. And you're going to find you're going to need to build in a little bit of time to adjust and be ready to adapt. And so where I sometimes see students go astray is they jump into the university and are very confident that they know and they've got this academic thing figured out. And they see the amazing list of like 300 student organizations and everything going on. And they sign up for 15 different clubs. And then what we find is the kind of time isn't balanced correctly, right? We also have others where the students might be 100% focused on the academics and not get involved on the co-curricular engagement side. And so when you're looking at those applications, it's about finding balance between those two things. So in order for you to get the most out of your undergraduate education, both of these elements are important. And so finding the right balance and combinations and outlets to do all of that is as important as how you're actually performing within the classroom.
We're getting a couple questions about AP's satisfying business prereqs. One noted that they saw AP statistics does not count for fulfilling one of the 5 prerequisite courses, but what about AP calculus? And it'd probably also be good to cover AP micro and AP macro as well.
Exactly. So the calculus and the micro and the macro absolutely can come in and be covered by the APs. And so the university dictates, and there's actually probably somewhere in the admissions you can get to a list of what those exam scores are, and then what the equivalent credits would be coming into the university that you would earn for those. A while back, we took actually AP stats coming in, but what we have found is that there is a little bit of a gap from the things that were going on in stats to where we're moving so quickly with analytics. And analytics is infusing every aspect of business. And so our faculty have decided that we need to have students actually take business statistics in order to prepare them for the upper level coursework that they are going to encounter, and be looking at the kinds of problems and the ways that we're solving them within business. So you can get 3 out of the 5 from the AP or the IB credits that are coming in. Certainly if you had dual enrollment and transfer credits, right, they'll be looking at that for evaluation to come through. So I think that covers that question for you.
Absolutely. And I just sent our pre-matriculation exam table to that shows you where the scores are for what transfers and what doesn't.
Yep.
Hold on one second. Let me get these questions.
I'm looking over at my other screen to see what.
Yeah, I know, trying to get the right questions. So do students usually have room to take more than 12 credits within their major? The question was specifically about marketing.
Yes, absolutely. So 12 is the minimum number. So where we go with that, when you look on the website, I will say it's sometimes a little misleading, the way that it is structured, that it looks like your major is only 12 credits, but really a business major has 11 required credits within the foundation semester, another 11 credits in the common core, the upper core, and then within your major discipline, it's between 12 and 15 credits. Accounting has 3 extra required credits based on where they need to go for our accreditation and pathways to the CPA. And so those 12 credits, yes, you choose those, but students are more than welcome to go beyond that. And we have several students that will do that. Some students that come into the program early, take more and more electives. There's others that might look at how do I look at things that are complementary to something in marketing. So maybe I'll take some more innovation and entrepreneurship types courses, courses that might be housed in that design studio that we saw, or maybe be taking some analytics courses if they wanted to go that are complementary. But there is a lot of wiggle room for students to do that. I mean, even when students are looking at, do I double major? Some decide, well, maybe instead of doing the double major, I actually major in one thing, minor in another, and then use all of those extra credits that I have to really shape the kinds of electives that I want to be taking. And there's a lot of experiences that are out there that students can do that. But yes, there's more. And most students, when they come in as freshmen, are usually sitting at that 15 credit mark, right? And consciously able, if something goes astray and they need to drop down to 12, they've got wiggle room to do that. But you don't come in and take like 17 and 18 credits. So we think about averaging 15 across, and sometimes by the time you get to your senior year, you might take a little bit more, because based on where you're going, you're like, oh, it'd be really helpful. I just came out of an internship in this area, and I'd really like to focus on that, and that's where I'm going to go. And so you might add in that one extra class that could help you do that. But for the most part, probably 15 credits is where most students are going to be sitting.
So you touched on this a little bit with kind of marketing students taking innovation courses, but can you talk about classes/opportunities that there are for innovation in startups?
Oh, there's cool stuff. Okay, so there is an entire, the Alan B. Miller Entrepreneurship Center was actually housed within Miller Hall up on the 3rd floor space. And it became so popular that we had to move to a much larger location across campus. And so across from Blow Hall, on the other side of campus, there is now this amazing space where students come in and they're working and engaging with peers that are interested in startups and entrepreneurship. And it's like a live living lab of experiences that are going on. And so if you actually go in and look for the Entrepreneurship Center, right on the website, you can see all kinds of events that are going on. And they're doing everything from working with client projects. So startups that are in the area, there's actually a way that they're wed to the local community, where we're bringing community ideas and students together, all from across campus to look at that. There's also pitch competitions that happen on Friday afternoons. And so you come in as a student with an idea and you pitch to your peers, and the student who has the most traction in their idea walks out the door with $100. And they may then say, okay, who wants to work with me on this idea? I want to launch it and run. And the students that are there can say, oh, I have this experience. I can bring this talent and skill to the table. And they start developing these teams that are interacting. So it's a very much a hands-on kind of learning lab experience within that. And so that's where I would say kind of complementary to the innovation entrepreneurship courses that are going on, also getting involved in both the design studio and innovation lab and the entrepreneurship center would be great places to go.
So I'm really interested in music business. Do you know of any ways that students can get involved in the music industry while in the business school?
So it depends on what it is that you want to do in that. So I actually have right now, I've got a student that is majoring in music. And so understanding that side of things, but wants to be more on the production side. And so what are the technical aspects, and trying to think about business more as getting a foundation within business and building a music focus on top of that. We don't have courses specifically, right, that would combine those two things. However, I think where students can find opportunities to do that would be in internships and externships, how they're spending their summers and their winter breaks. Also getting involved potentially with, in the Hampton Roads area. So in Williamsburg, depending on what genre of music you're interested in, because there are many that I've seen students doing everything from the classical side to more the what we think of as mainstream kind of performance types of things, and others that are more South by Southwest types of experiences, right? And so getting experience into the music industry venues that are in the area. So up to Richmond and down to Norfolk and Portsmouth and other places that are there. Students can really be hands-on while they're in the classroom environment as well. I've also seen some students do some study away programs and even some study abroad programs that might have those kind of courses that they can focus on and bring back. So there's not a specific thing, and I wouldn't even say there's enough courses that you would self-design. So it would probably be combining either a business major or minor with something in music, and then finding the experiences that can help you bridge between those two areas.
And I feel like that's when the, massive alumni network for both William and Mary and for Mason
Yes.
is handy as well to kind of see, we know the student who's, trying to design their business and minor in music, and using those connections to help future generations of students is always
absolutely. And going and shadowing and talking with,
mm-hmm.
really understanding what aspect of the industry that they want to be focused on.
Yes.
Really
Absolutely.
understanding where are the opportunities to come out and be working. And alumni are critically important to that.
Absolutely.
Was there one in here on kind of pre-med and dental and students doing that? And yes, I actually do have students that are doing that. And so for students that are going to medical school, dental school, right, there are certain prereqs and courses that you need to take to be able to sit for your MCATs and your exams and then go on. But what some of our students that are looking to pursue further studies within the medical field are realizing how important business is to that. So, right, if you're in a practice, you're not just doing the medicine, but you also have to run and think about all of the structure that comes behind it. And it's a lot. And so students have found that there's actually great ways to differentiate themselves from others by having that business background and exposure. And there's even now actually MD programs that are MD, MBA programs that exist going out down the line, but even that undergraduate business experience could be really helpful. The other area that we have seen for students is actually going into healthcare administration, right? And so whether or not you really want to be doing the practice or you want to be looking at the system, what's going on. I have a faculty named Rajiv Kohli, and he's wonderful. And actually just it's registration time. So we just heard from a student who's taking his course, which is a healthcare informatics course. And so it's looking at how do we use data to improve patient outcomes, and how do we do that on a system-wide level. And so we have students that are combining both of those interests and then doing a variety of things within the medical areas. Lots of opportunities on that. Just careful planning, I think, is what's really probably needed on the academic advising. Mm-hmm. And business courses have enough flexibility that we can build course schedules around when you need to get the critical science courses and lab courses in so that you're prepared to go through. And there's actually a few hospital environments around. And so many of our students are working as scribes in the hospital system and getting a lot of hands-on work. And so I think it's important for students that come in with that to get engaged with the medical. Bev Sure is an amazing advisor, and she works with all of our pre-med and pre-dental and kind of pre-professional health students coming through, and can put you in touch with the kinds of opportunities that will really help you form your application later on.
I always like to break it down into thirds and say that kind of 1/3 of your college credits at William and Mary will be our general education requirements. The next third will be your major, so that could be business, and that final third is kind of up to you. So it can be that pre-med track, that pre-dental track, it could be a minor, it could be elective credit. So you can definitely pursue all those things.
Yep.
So what class do people usually take before they enter the business school?
So before they come in, it's going to be the prerequisites. The majors require all of those prereqs. I will say for our minors program, not all of them are required. And so usually it's a pared down list depending on which interest you're going in. So those need to be before you would matriculate into the program. But I find that there's other students that kind of want to dabble. And some of the courses in business foundations, which is really an introduction to all the business functions and how do they kind of interact with each other. And that's taught actually by a person who came out as a former CEO, right? So looking at the big picture and spends a week on marketing and has a guest speaker that comes in and switches to operations and then to the legal aspects and then to the strategic planning and the analytics. And so really gives students kind of a broad overview of the different areas that they can kind of say, oh, right, I might be attracted to a couple of these ones. So it helps if you're not quite sure where you want to go. There's other courses that might be more focused already. So for instance, some of my students that have an interest in finance might come in and take the financial services course, which is really about understanding all of the career options that exist within the world of financial services. So oftentimes we think finance, we think banking, and then we think iBanking, and that is just a very, very small component of what opportunities exist for students that want to go into the financial sector. And so we really want to make them aware of opportunities that are going on. Innovation entrepreneurship, there's ways to get involved in the analytics side. So there's a lot of courses that you can take that are business focused. I would also say kind of tailoring your general education courses, if you have business in mind, is really helpful. So say you were interested in international business and you wanted to do that in a particular part of the world, right? You may focus on using some of your general educations to overlap, to understand what are the culture and the history and the politics and the way systems are set up within that particular area. Or if you're interested in kind of more business justice things, how do we look at that, and looking at sociology and anthropology courses that are going on. And so I think just kind of leading with a little bit of intentionality that stretches you, but still are things that you can bring back in to tell that story about how you went through your journey is helpful.
Absolutely. And you touched on this a little bit, but can you talk about what courses regular William and Mary students can take in the business school? Because I know that it is good.
Yeah, so there is a gate, right, for students to come in. And the reason that there is somewhat of a gate for students coming into the program is because we're promising that the students that we've admitted can go through the curriculum and get everything that they need. And so the very first set of foundation semester courses tend to be prerequisite courses for most of our upper level courses that come through. And so that's where students need to come in and be admitted into the program. There are a couple of courses that float around that are what we would say cross-listed. So there's a listing in both departments. So things like the environmental sustainability inspired design is crossed with environmental studies and business. So students might come into the environmental studies side of that course. Things like the creative problem solving that I was saying. There are a number of courses that we dual count with government and public policy. There's even one that we actually paired with policy in the law school on cybersecurity. And so there's these kind of like hot topic courses that are really trying to draw students in from different disciplines across the university. So those would be the kinds of courses that are most available, that students, they want to take maybe one course here, another course there. But we do have it fairly gated off in most cases. Also important, I think, for students to know that there is a supplemental fee for students that are pursuing business studies. There is financial aid. And so when students get admitted, they're working with their financial aid advisors on how to navigate that. And so again, because we've got fee-paying students that are involved in the business school, the students that are not are welcome to do all of the student orgs and the events and things, but the academic piece is a little bit tight for them to come into.
Absolutely. So what kinds of research opportunities are available within the business school?
Oh, that is a good question. Talking with our faculty actually to say we're updating right now our faculty list on what kind of projects. So business school faculty are actively pursuing research as much as you would see faculty in other areas of the campus environment, right? And their interests are diverse and broad and cutting edge and responsive to what's going on right now. And so the faculty will have different projects that they're working on and say, okay, I'm working on this project. I'm looking for students that might want to partner with me and serve as research assistants during the academic year or even during the summer months. And so in a non-COVID year, most years, we actually have students that are working with faculty on research projects, and they'll live on campus and come on in and partner and do that. And those could be projects that are here. There's also sometimes where we have faculty that are doing international research work and data collection. And so they might actually be traveling with those faculty members as well.
So very cool. All right. Well, at this time, we have no other questions. Are there any final questions out there for us to answer while we're still on the call?
Yeah, somebody said double major minor. Yes, you can double major and minor and do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like they should be playing some Jeopardy music waiting for this final.
I know, like, right, to see where things are. Well, you all are welcome to reach out. So I know that this is kind of an unusual time that you're not here with us on campus and kind of seeing and feeling, you know, what is it like to be on William and Mary? But I know that the admissions team has done a great job. And just to let you know, we're all accessible to you. So if you have more questions that come up and you want to know and talk more about this, we are happy to engage in those conversations and give you a sense of where it is. So if I was to give you a takeaway, I think the thing that you will feel and find within the business school, it's very much a community environment. And it's a community of diverse students with a lot of different interests that are coming over and figuring out how to use business to change the world, right? So how are you bringing your skills and talents and how can you contribute? And we will match that energy as much as the students will be coming in. And it's a place where you get stretched, right? Which is when you're looking at where are you going to go and spend your university time? Where do you see yourself being part of that community, but where is the community going to kind of stretch you and pull you in ways so that you are growing and thriving and flourishing and learning resilience within that environment? And I think that's what you really have to look at. So what are the things that you'd like to get out of your educational experience? What environment's going to allow you to do that, to pick this piece and put it together? I think we do it fairly well compared to some others that are out there. But again, if you've got more questions, by all means, follow up and reach out, and you just send me an email, it's in there, and we'll get back with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jen. It was wonderful hearing from you and learning so much more about the business school. I know that our students appreciate it, and I'm sure they are very well informed on all the processes. I hope that you guys continue to join us. There was one final question I will answer. Are the business prereqs indicated in the course catalog?
They are indicated in the text version of the course catalog. So like they're up at top, they don't give you the particular numbers. If you really wanted to dig, and might be even easier to navigate in the course catalog, is on our business school website in the advising section. My advisors have what they call like major curriculum guides that are in there. And it's what I think of as the cheat sheet of these are all the courses and how everything fits together. And all of that information is at a glance. And JD might be fast enough to kind of find that in there.
Trying to see if I can do it.
Under advising, and then probably advising resources or forms that are in there.
Yes. Okay, I found it.
Yay, fabulous.
All right, I will send that to the chat in just 1 second.
Exactly. And we do have, for those of you, just to make sure, there's a student panel. So if you really want to kind of, I've given you kind of the administrative view of things coming in, but we wanted you to have a chance to hear from the students themselves and be able to ask questions with them, and kind of a format that works really well to do that. And so starting at 5 o'clock, we've got a panel.
Just 8 minutes.
Students that will come on through. So it'll give you, a bio break to go run away, get something else to drink, and then come back. But I do encourage you to come in and ask them questions and hear it firsthand from the students that are part of our program.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jen. And again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for our academic business panel today. And please continue to join us for the student panel. I'm sure they will be able to share some wonderful expertise on what it's actually like to be a student in the business school for you all to learn about. So thank you so much. And again, this video will be posted on our DD Fast Welcome site, hopefully by the beginning of next week. So please feel free to kind of check back in and see if there's anything you missed. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful day. Bye, Jen.
Bye.